Hello and welcome to a brand new Five Heart podcast live on a Thursday night, 9 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock, other less important places. The only time zone that matters is Central. We've been very firm about that over the last several years of the Five Heart podcast. Regardless, we thank you all for joining us. I'm your host, Greg Mahachko, and this is Minnie Hunt. And Minnie, it's great to see you. And
Thank you. Great to be here.
It would be better if we were celebrating a Nebraska men's basketball victory, but that one's out of the realm of our control.
Yeah, that was it was close. Up until the end, they just kind of let it get away from them, I feel like. Oh, Melissa's here already.
Welcome, Melissa. Melissa says hello, everyone.
Hello.
And the viewers are climbing. We are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. Thanks, Fred. Thank you once again. I have properly been demoted to panelist, so I need a shirt for copycorn.com that just has panelist with a picture of a microphone. But I digress. Hello, Scott. Scott Schrader's here. Says hello to us and everybody else. So I got home from work after 8:30, changed. I messaged you. I said I'll send you the link so that you can get in here. And I was eating a peanut butter sandwich because that's what happens. And so here we are. We made it.
That's just a whirlwind. So you didn't get to watch the game.
I didn't get to watch the game. So
okay. Probably a good thing.
No, I'm a big loser because I didn't get to watch it. I feel like they probably would have won if I would have.
It's all your fault, Greg.
So much in life is my fault, Minnie. Let's just add something. The camel's back hasn't broke yet. Let's keep adding more straw.
We can all just blame Greg that we didn't win this one.
Yep, thanks.
You're welcome.
Blame. Don't even name me. Just say blame the panelist. That we've sunk to such depths.
That Nebraska panelist.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously we'll talk about the game Nebraska at Ohio State. And next week we're going to have at least I say tentatively, I think it's all going to work out. We'll have someone to talk about Nebraska basketball. At that point, the only game that they will have left is the Michigan game on the road. So we should have a Coronation contributor, Coronation writer to visit with us about not just Nebraska, but looking into the Big Ten tournament. He's a longtime Big Ten men's basketball fan. So we'll be joined by Kevin Knight next week. Again, I say tentatively. I think it's all going to work out. But yeah, that'll be next week. This week, we're just going to be sad.
No, we're not going to be sad. Since we last talked, we've actually had a win at home. And I know it's fresh and, it's kind of one of those things that we have to talk about, but we won on Sunday. We beat those, what is it called? Grimy, gross, grimy gopher guts?
Something like that. I can't remember it all. If John were here, he would know. And that was a nice win. Obviously, double digit at home, 73-55. It was a standout performance in that game. It's just, I'm not saying that I'm overly managed at work, but one of my managers, the mentality is, what have you done for me lately? So, yeah, MK knows recency bias. Yeah. So we're sad. Yeah. So let's talk about the happiness. Let's talk about whoever's trying to fall through the roof in my house, apparently. This past Sunday, Nebraska did take on Minnesota at home, PBA, where they have been pretty damn good. And they got the 73-55 win. And once again, when you break it down and you look at scoring, it came from, a lot of places. Rick Mass didn't have his best game. He had 10 points. Casey Tominaga had 6, but you had Juwan Gary with 22 points, Bryce Williams 15, Jamarcus Lawrence had 11, and Josiah Alec had 9, but he is such an electrifying player, and what he was doing on the defensive side of the court really, I think, eclipsed, his offensive, productivity in that regard. But here we go. James says, "Great big gobs of greasy, grimy gopher guts." Thank you.
That's it. That's who they are.
Yeah, dadgum Gophers. So it was a really well played game. And I always go back to the depth of this team, because a player like CJ Wilcher didn't have a point against Minnesota, but at the same time, he was the player who led us against Wisconsin. So you never know. One of the I can't remember who, I don't know if it was ESPN or Fox Sports or Big Ten, but one of the analysts said that Nebraska, and this was prior to tonight's loss, but said that Nebraska is a Sweet 16 team. And that's hard to believe.
You're talking about a lot of the things that are on Section 3.
Yeah, I know.
My note.
I'm sorry.
And we haven't even gotten through all of 1.
Okay, let's back up. Can we? Josh is here and speaking in tongues. Can we, Minnie, bring in the third and probably second most popular part of tonight's show?
Okay, which is it? Oh, what do you have there? Wait, what's that? What is going on?
It's back.
My gosh.
It's back. The reason everybody's here. The Yinglings are back.
Beautiful can. Okay, so is that a 30-pack?
It's a 24.
Okay.
But I think
24-pack.
It's a 24-pack. Scott knows what's up. It's important to know. I wanted to bring more audio presentation for that. Play some exciting music, but I knew that would be copyright problem. And yep, that's right. Vince says panelists just can't follow a script. Thanks, Vince.
You have a hard time.
Look, I get it. I know exactly where I am in this show. All right. This used to be my show. Now I'm the plucky sidekick. All right. Who has maybe a drinking problem. I don't know. That's right. I looked happier than Ralphie with the Red Ryder. That's
cute.
Not the only excited person to hold a case of Yingling. I just want you to know. Also, don't ask how long it took to make these photos. I'm embarrassed because I'm not great at Photoshop. But here's a great one. This here's a gentleman who's very excited to hold a case of Yingling. So take that. I think a case of Yingling might go further than a Money in the Bank briefcase.
That's an incredible advertisement. I would drink it if I got muscles like him. I mean, not quite like him, but
I don't think the muscles came from the Yingling, though.
Well, I think that's kind of implied with the advertisement there.
And how about this one? Nothing says victory like a case of Yingling.
Love it.
Again, I'm horribly disappointed at how long it took me to make Photoshop these images. But
you were bored.
I was dedicated.
That's Henry Ford.
That's Harry Truman.
Wow.
And the newspaper that you can't see because, again, somebody expertly clipped out and replaced it is because the newspaper was predicting that his political opponent for the presidential race I can't remember his first name, but it was Dewey. In the newspaper that he's holding up says Dewey defeats Truman. Of course, that didn't happen. Truman was elected president, and now we know the rest. Truman, of course, the tie-in to college football is that the Missouri Tigers mascot is named Truman because Harry Truman was from Missouri.
Oh.
Scott Schrader says Ying is now the official beer of the Five Heart podcast. Not wrong. If only I could just get it shipped to Illinois, but no. Whoever had the...
How did you get that? How'd you get that case?
Oh, it is a case. Great question, and I love that this is housekeeping, but again, we don't check the notes. It's more of a guideline than a structure. Somebody in the comments last week said, if you know anybody in Missouri, couldn't you just ask them so you don't have to drive to Missouri? And I do. I have a coworker who works in Missouri, so he acquired it. We made the swap, and all is good in Gregland. So
you're welcome.
I couldn't have done without the Five Heart podcast and the Chatterfields. So, all right, let's get back on. Let's get on topic.
Okay.
Instant reaction against Ohio State University men's basketball #1. So we're not skipping anymore.
We got this.
We got this.
We can totally do this.
We're gonna figure it out. Yes, Nebraska lost tonight at Ohio State. 78-69, and let's react to it in an instantaneous manner.
That's a bummer.
It was. Rank Mass 14 points, Jamarcus Lawrence 14. Those are the only two players in double figures for Nebraska. Keisei Tominaga had 9, 8 for CJ Wilcher, who we just mentioned, 7 for Bryce Williams, 8 for Jawan Gary. 5 for Sam Hoiberg. Just not the crisp presentation that they have had.
It was a good fight all the way up until the end. I mean, I feel like it was pretty even, and I just feel like they're a fourth quarter team where they really come alive. And I really, even though they were trailing for most of the game, I was expecting this to go into overtime. And they just let it get away from them. So, I mean, the score being 78-69 looks pretty bad, but it wasn't. It was a lot closer of a game.
It was, let's see, trailing by 2 at halftime, 39-37. I think at one point I caught a score, not live. It was just, in the Slack chat or something like that, that was Nebraska might have been up 35-32. None of that is verifiable, I suppose. But it was, again, at the end of the day, just wasn't Nebraska's best effort. To be fair, apparently Ohio State has a good ball player by the name of Jamison Battle, had 32 points. I mean, that right there matches all of Nebraska's second half scoring by itself. So, you're going to find nights like this, and I'd rather it be tonight than in the Big Ten tournament than in the NCAA tournament.
Right. And the announcers, usually I don't like announcers and the things that they have to say because they seem like they're not biased towards Nebraska. But they did mention how we have had a hard time winning on the road, and how it actually plagues most of the Big Ten. So It'll be interesting when we actually do get to go to the playoffs, how we do.
I'm actually going to pull up. I wanted to have this prepared, but again, who's got that kind of there's only one team in the Big Ten that has a winning road conference record. And it's a team that didn't win in Nebraska, but Purdue is 6-3 on the road. Illinois is 4-4. Again, this is all, I guess, as of today. If Illinois played tonight or something, and that would affect things. Northwestern, Wisconsin are both 3-6. Nebraska, again, probably ahead of tonight's contest. We're 1-8. It's just not an easy conference. And we've talked about this before. I don't want to necessarily rehash a ton, but it's just not an easy conference to win on the road. So Northwestern did it last night against Maryland, but the road Big Ten wins are few and far between.
Yeah. That's why I'm looking forward to the playoffs. I mean, we have one game at home, Rutgers, and then we have one game away, Michigan, right?
Correct. Rutgers this Sunday, Michigan on next Sunday, or which is also, well, I guess that's not Selection Sunday. That's after the conference tournament. So, no, that's not right. Because next week, crap. Hold on, I got it right here. I'm dumb. I don't have to guess. I just have to be smart. All right. Yeah. So I was right. Rutgers' senior night is this Sunday, 5:30 Central. Again, the only time zone that matters. And here's the difference that a week can make. 5:30 Central this Sunday, 11 a.m. Central Daylight Time next Sunday at Michigan. So,
so what does that mean? Is that you?
So that's right. You're in Arizona.
Yeah, we never change.
Right. So that means that when the rest of the country, when we go to bed on Saturday, we're going to turn our clocks forward, except most of us have smart devices that automatically adjust, and then we lose an hour of sleep. So, gain an hour in the fall, lose an hour because we spring forward, fall back.
Does that affect you at all? Losing an hour of sleep? No?
Not anymore, just because with the kids, like they wake up at the same time regardless. I mean, same time to them, Okay. So the difference would be, what they would normally wake up is 6 o'clock in the morning. It would say 7 o'clock on the dial. So it's like, ooh.
Oh, that's nice.
So it doesn't make any difference in the grand scheme. I'm still tired when it's all said and done. Josh says the whole country needs to join Arizona. The time change is bullspit.
Mm-hmm. That's why I live here.
Let's see. Let's talk about the game tonight, because Fred said that those announcers must have said something good about Dylan because Minnie isn't in tire slashing mode.
I didn't hear them say anything about Dylan.
And they lived to tell the tale.
They did, yes. Usually, you're right. Usually, I don't really like the announcers.
Also, unrelated to that, James says with it being a quad one loss, it's not that damaging. It will definitely hurt if we lose to Michigan. So,
okay.
And Terry,
that's the last game.
And we definitely addressed this, Terry. Another Big Ten road loss, nothing new for any Big Ten team. Again, even you have the top teams in the conference who have been Purdue and Wisconsin. Illinois is up there now. Illinois is past Wisconsin. Wisconsin's got a 3-6 road record. But Purdue was at one point the number one team in the country. They still have 3 road losses. They're 25-3 over. So it's very heavy at the top of the conference. Nebraska and Northwestern both at 20 wins and 9 and 8 losses respectively. Again, I don't know if this updated after tonight's loss. Illinois is 21-7. Purdue's 25-3. I mean, Purdue's playing good ball now. They're 9-1 in their last 10. Nebraska is 6-4 in their last 10. Again, I'm not counting tonight because I don't think Big10.org updated that quickly. That would be shocking if that was the case. So,
should we move on to housekeeping?
Because
we're going to talk more about basketball in a second.
Yes, let's move on to housekeeping. What do you have for us?
So the reason that John's not here tonight is that he cannot do 2 nights in a row. We're doing a double feature not exactly double feature. What do they call that? A double header.
Back to back.
Back to back. Tonight and tomorrow night, we will be watching Young Guns at 7:30 Central Time, right?
I don't think we ever said anything about a time. I thought it'd be 9 o'clock. We talk about 7:30.
Well, okay. So if it's not 7:30, John has the time wrong.
I don't know where he got 9 or 7:30.
He put it on his calendar as 7:30.
You have access to his calendar? What is going on in this world?
Well, okay. So you know that I still watch all the shows. I'm still part of the chat as much as possible. And on Monday night, he made an announcement that we're going to be watching the movie on Friday night. And he said, I have it on my calendar for 7:30.
Only if he wants my children screaming around in the background. Which I don't want personally.
We kind of have to make sure that he's going to be there because that's what everyone was paying for, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because he's the one who doesn't like Young Guns. And, I did a little research on this movie.
Mm-hmm.
They made it in 1988.
Right.
I mean, okay. That was a long time ago.
That's how time works. That was over 30 years ago.
That's a long time ago. But okay.
I have confidence in us. I think we'll.
I'm just thinking there's probably a lot better Westerns that have been made since. Maybe not.
Oh, yes. But this one specifically, and I don't even remember how we got.
Highlander gun, I think.
It's definitely
Correct me
Highlander
if I'm
gun.
wrong. Yeah. Anyways.
All I know is that John said, I hate that movie. And I said, well, you had a brain injury. So you used to love peanut butter and you hate that. So maybe the opposites change. Maybe you'll love the movie.
Maybe you will.
Josh says, I bet it's just as good today as it was in 1988. And MK says, John hasn't aged much in 30 years based on that picture.
I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's about time that we threw a party like this.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So
1988.
Okay.
Thanks, Roger. That's how time works. Quote of the year. Thanks, Roger. I appreciate that. All right. Other housekeeping. If I may take the ball.
Please.
Remember, if you're on YouTube, make sure you smash that like button. I just use click, but other people use smash. I'm going to go with it. And then subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you hit that notifications bell so that you are notified every time we drop new content or schedule a live stream just like this. So that you're notified, because we love this community that we have built over the last couple of years. And we don't want any of you to miss a show. So you do your part. We'll keep dropping content and having these fun shows. And all you got to do is show up and make fun of me in the comments and bring your Husker love. That's really what it's all about.
Okay. That's exactly right. And you already talked about our special guest next week, who, by the way, I did a little research on him. I assume you're friends with him.
I know Kevin a little bit.
Okay. I found out that he's been writing about Husker basketball since 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So 5 years he's been suffering through.
He's also, by birth, a Michigan State fan.
Oh.
And he's been writing, I don't want to say writing less for us. I mean, he's still, he's still considered part of the Coronation family, I suppose. But he started, I think, this past offseason doing more on a Sparty site. So
oh dear.
That's right. He's a good dude. Good dude.
Now that I know that.
I shouldn't have told you. I'm sorry.
No.
All right. Before we move out of housekeeping, Roger Moore wants to ask if beer is in housekeeping. I don't know if you missed that part, Roger, but I'm happy to show again. Beer's not just in housekeeping. Beer's all throughout. And beer's going to be with us for a little while because we've got the beers. It's very tough to hold an open and not full case of beer. I just want you all to know. Appreciate the struggles that I go through for your benefit. So
I'm going to make a suggestion, Greg.
Empty the beers?
No.
Oh.
When you have the case emptied, that cardboard, you see how pretty that is? I think you ought to frame that and put it behind your, right there.
Okay.
That would be pretty. A little red.
Now what about, I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm all for decorating. What about, sometimes I have to use this desk area for work purposes.
Oh.
And sometimes I have some of those Zoom or Teams meetings. Just your thoughts on what I would do with the beer insignia on the wall.
Just pull it off the wall.
So Vince says room temperature wall. No, I actually, when I got the case yesterday, I immediately put a few in the fridge. And not only that, but I have my little beer tote. So we're good. Scott says, I didn't mean to cut you off, Minnie, but Scott says Minnie made you feel really old made him feel real old mentioning 1988.
1988. That was a good vintage. Please tell me you blur out your background on Zoom meetings. You're going to make your coworkers look at your fan and your boob light.
Oh. No. So for those meetings, I usually don't even have the camera on because I don't have to.
Okay. Well, there you go.
So Vince, again, no room temperature beer. Nobody would want that. Let's see. That's right. Aaron Rostovsky. See, Aaron, I know. Smash that like button like Greg smashes. Jesus. Greg smashes Yinglings. This is my first. I'm just reading and talking anyway. All right.
Okay.
Fred says, Greg, put the box on the wall and empties on the shelf like a frat boy.
I mean to do it tastefully. Frame it. You could even mat it. It'll give us a focal point other than your ceiling fan. That's all. That's all I'm suggesting.
All I'm saying is when it gets warm enough, I might actually turn the fan on. Do you think the comment section is ready for that? No. Fred says that you're Zoom shaming me. And wonders if you work on these comedy bits and save them for Thursday nights.
No.
All right.
Bless your heart. It's okay. I'm just trying to help you out.
Oh, bless your heart. Wow. You are from the South a little bit, aren't you?
Yes. This is what I'm saying. Arizona is in the South.
I don't think it is.
Can we move on?
Southwest.
Section 3.
Let me double check section 3. No, not yet. Real quick is because Scott says that the loss tonight gave another reason to dislike the Buckeyes.
That's right. Yeah.
So now we can move on to section 3.
Okay. Before we do, real quick, I just want you to know on Monday night's show, somebody from the comment said to John and Todd, "Where's Greg and Minnie?" The panelists. No, they didn't say the panelists. I know.
You just threw you are just, you know what? I'm going to put this one back up by MK says, let's all stop picking on Greg. All right. Yes, it's good to be missed. All right. Number 3.
Okay. Well, that is the preview for Rutgers. At home, 5:30 this Sunday, sold out.
Hanging from the rafters?
Yep.
Nice.
And the last time we played them was in New Jersey, January 17th. It was a loss in overtime. I think we might remember that. 87-82.
Correct.
But right now, well, as of a couple hours ago when I did this, Rutgers was ranked 12th in the Big Ten. I think they had like 6, I forget what their win-loss record was. It wasn't very good.
13 now.
Wow.
6-10 in the conference. They are 14-13 overall, and they have a paltry 2-6 road record. I shouldn't say that because Nebraska's 1-8, but you know what I'm saying. They have not. They're 4-6 in their last 10, and they're on a 3-game losing streak.
Oh, this actually feels really good. Feels like we're gonna.
I'm gonna take a quick gander. I apologize at even using the word, but I do feel like Nebraska is a very different team at home than they are on the road. But again, not to beat it to death, most teams in the Big Ten are. I think that Nebraska's a far better than 5-point team, or I guess 6.5 to tie, 6 to defeat against Rutgers when they're playing at PBA. And with the kind of season that they've had at Pinnacle Bank Arena this year, again, we talked about their road. I mean, they're 9-0 in the conference. There are only 3 teams in the Big Ten that are undefeated at home: Purdue, Northwestern, and Nebraska. So I don't know. I don't want to go out on a crazy limb and make any wild, statements, but I don't see how Nebraska loses this game.
I don't think it's a crazy limb. And here's why. Besides everything you just said. I told you about the announcers at the game tonight. Even they recognized how insane the crowd is at PBA when Nebraska's at home. It rivals nobody else. And I think that just hypes up all the players. I mean, how can you not, play to your very best and make all those, rebounds like Josiah Alec? His rebounding was off the hook with Minnesota. I mean,
Correct.
I feel like he practically won the game for us with his defensive.
Let's see. I'm listening.
That's all I had on Rutgers. Sorry. I was just looking at my notes real quick.
Let's see here. I want to pull up those stats quickly. Yeah, I mean, Alec had 8 rebounds against Minnesota. If you look at the downside, Nebraska didn't rebound particularly well tonight. I mean, Rank had a double-double. He had 14 points, 12 boards, but that accounted for more than a third of the team's overall rebounds. So they just weren't totally, spread out there. But you're right. When Josiah Alec, it is such an incredible atmosphere. It's fun even to watch on TV when Nebraska plays at home. And with this being their last opportunity to see this team on the home court, you're right. Standing room only. It's going to be bonkers.
I so wish I could. I mean, I'm going to make it a point to be at a game next year for sure. It's senior night too, by the way.
Correct.
Which means we have 2 seniors, Josiah Alec and Keisei Tominaga. So it'll be kind of bittersweet for them.
There was a nice, I think it was a Big Ten network reporter who had, I want to say that, I don't think it was someone from national, I think it was conference, but was really commenting on how the Alec family, the Alec siblings have been there in their respective seasons showing support. So Josiah Alec, with members of the men's basketball team, was always there supporting Becca in volleyball, and Becca is now always, found at PBA supporting her brother as well. So, it's great to see those moments, but Alec's presence on the court will be missed, after this year. So he and Casey. So we've got Husker Bob saying that Tominaga was awful tonight and is incapable of playing good D. I just want to pull up tonight's stats again so I can take a look. Yeah, again, 9 points, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, a steal, and just didn't have his best game. But again, I would much rather his not best game be now, on February 29th, where he's not going to see it pop up in his Facebook memories for another 4 years, than in the Big Ten tournament or in the NCAA tournament.
True.
Let's see. Aaron wants to know, how can we lose when Dylan's in the building? Am I right, Minnie?
It's true.
And I think we mentioned, I'll hit it again in case I got a bad memory. Rutgers did defeat Michigan 82-52 tonight. So,
wow.
So that's Nebraska's next final 2 opponents in the regular season. So,
okay. Huh. All right. Well, Fred Hoiberg gave a press conference yesterday. He talked about how the Huskers have been number 1 in defense since February 1st in the country. And second was Houston. So these guys are playing their hearts out. I mean, they are defending. Even if they aren't making the shots, they are. I mean, how can we be number 1 and still win by 18 with Minnesota?
You're right. And that relies solely on the defense, because as poorly as the offense was at home against Minnesota on Sunday, the defense was what kept it. It's very reminiscent of, this past fall on the football field. The defense kept them in the game.
I keep thinking the same exact thing.
So,
like they all had a conference. Like we're going to go big on defense, okay? We're going to make our teams win by defense. And actually, I do think that you have to have a great defense to win in any sport in the Big Ten.
You're absolutely right. I'm sorry. I read Fred's comment. February 1st, that's so long ago. Me, Greg, that's how time works. God bless you, Fred.
Greg.
Me? I didn't. I say it once. All right. It becomes a thing. All right. So, right. With the defense being as stout as they have been, and with the depth that we've been talking about here the last several weeks on this show, on the bench, on the roster, again, we look at that Minnesota game and we have 8 players scoring, even if they're, let's see here. Ow. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. 6 players scoring, 8 players playing. Wilcher and Hoiberg didn't have points in that game against Minnesota. But again, they're, Sam Hoiberg had played over 21 minutes against Minnesota, coming up with 5 rebounds, a steal. I mean, we talk all the time about his defensive acumen. And then we look at tonight against Ohio State, and, again, bunch of guys getting 20+ minutes. Rank Mass being the workhorse of the night with over 31 minutes of time on the court. Again, the shots weren't falling tonight, but Ohio State is not Rutgers or Minnesota or Michigan. I mean, they're bottom half of the conference, but they're going to. The thing with Ohio State is they fired their head coach, and what I see, I think we see a lot of times when a head coach gets fired is that there's a surge of
the rally,
right? Of I don't want to say necessarily positive productivity or enthusiasm or energy, but I think that'll fizzle out eventually. It just is unfortunate that it all happened right when Nebraska was scheduled to play in Columbus.
It's true.
Oh, Melissa, nail on the head. Volleyball also uses defense.
There you go. They all got together.
And baseball and softball also play defense.
Hey, baseball. I was at the baseball game this past weekend.
Yeah, tell us about that because that's. Hold on. That's not on. We can't talk about it. It's not on the list.
I forgot.
All right, moving on. No, how was it, Nebraska baseball against the Grand Canyon University?
Yep. It was beautiful. Beautiful weather. Beautiful facilities. Like, they have a parking garage right next to the field, which is, it rivaled the Diamondbacks field, in my opinion. It was so great. And I actually went Saturday night also after, right at the 9th inning. So I got to see, Aaron kept saying that he thought that the pitcher was trying to start a fight with GCU's pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
He struck him out at the bottom of the 9th, right? It was not a fight. I was there. This is
walk us through because I'm not familiar.
Okay, so really, I feel like most of the stands are pretty full up until the very end. And so the last up to bat was the pitcher for Nebraska. His last name is Caron, Caron, I think, number 55 or 52, something like that. And his number if his name was Dylan Roll. So it was actually like a loaded.
I said Dylan Rule. I meant Dylan Rail. Everybody knows what I meant.
Ryle. We know who you mean. And it was like a full count. And sure enough, the GCU pitcher struck him out. And don't tell me I was there. I was there. But it just looked like he was so excited about the game. And I get it that you're not supposed to walk towards, the hitter. But he just looked like he was excited about the game. That he struck out, the last guy. And they won. Because they didn't win the other 3 games. So that's all I was going to say. Number 5. Thank you, Aaron.
Aaron Rostovsky coming in with the knowledge, dropping the know-how.
Well, he knows. He's the baseball guy.
He is the baseball guy.
He was pretty pissed off, though. The GCU looked like they were gonna start some crap with the Huskers, and I would have been pissed off too. But that wasn't the case. And there were more Huskers in the stands than there were GCU fans.
That doesn't surprise me. If I'm being honest, I always thought Grand Canyon University was just like an online school, like Phoenix University or whatever, Phoenix College. Good. Okay.
The Yinglings.
It's not the Yinglings. It's just Greg being Greg. Sorry, everybody.
Okay, GCU was originally, they were kind of right by my house, okay? And then they built, or they bought all this property just on the other side of I-17, which if you're in Phoenix, there's I-17 divides Phoenix into, there's the west side and then the east side. The West Side is not so good. Yeah, West Side. West Side was not so good. But GCU bought like all of these neighborhoods and built this enormous, beautiful campus, totally safe. Like, in order to get in anytime, you have to go through a guard at a guard gate. So it's a great school. And they have great sports too.
I mean, they're okay. They lost 3 out of 4 to Nebraska, so
I know, but okay. I think soccer and basketball are their sports mainly.
okay. Like I said, I honestly thought it was like one of those like Vatterott College types of places where, if you're 36 and the factory closed down, you can get your online degree at GCU.
I think you can. But
I'm sure you can. That's all I ever do. When I saw that they were on Nebraska's schedule, honestly, I was a little surprised. I'm like, I mean, talk about punching down was my initial reaction. So
they're not bad though.
All right.
But what do I care? I mean,
you don't care.
I just want the Huskers to annihilate everybody on our schedule. Doesn't matter if it's diving or bowling. I don't care.
There's no defense in those 2 sports.
True.
Can confirm.
Do that.
All right. Take us to our next destination.
Yes. Okay. So, can we talk about football?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's our show. I think we can talk about whatever we want. Tomorrow, for God's sakes, we're watching Young Guns, so who the hell knows?
So, did you watch the game Sunday?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see the halftime show?
They don't usually air that.
Well, you can watch it on other things, but they aired a little bit of it.
I saw bits and pieces.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, I went from at halftime, I went from watching the game and I put on is it Harry Potter for
Okay.
15 minutes for the kids, for the kids.
Aw, very nice.
I'm a nice dad most of the time.
That's nice.
Don't cross me. That's all I gotta say.
They had a dunk contest with the football players.
I saw that.
And it was so unexpected and so great fun. So Jeremiah Charles, Heinrich Harburg, who else? Kai Wallen, Thomas Fedoni, and Emmett Johnson. They were actually, okay, so I didn't watch the whole thing till later, the dunk contest. I watched the highlights and it looked like, they were like kicking butt with these dunks. But if you watch the whole thing, I mean, they got like 1 dunk out of 5 tries.
Oh, that's fine.
But there was a huge highlight, and that is Jeremiah Charles won. And this kid looked like he was channeling his best Air Jordan. He's like swimming in the air, like to the basket and dunks. So that was really cool. As well as Emmett Johnson tried to jump over Matt Rule on the very last one. It was so cute. And Matt was just standing there right underneath the basket.
So Josh asks, was it Charles that stole the show? Dude's a freak athlete. And I think we established that it was. And James Boardman says the back of Rule's head was hit by bits and pieces.
It's true. It's true. And I'm not sure if Matt Rule's going to do that ever again because of, yeah. He tried several times too.
MK called it badonka junked. Fred says amateurs. Dylan would have hit 10 out of 10 dunks easy.
I know.
We'll get, don't worry. We have something special just for Minnie regarding DR. All right. Just hang tight. But it's good. And then we saw up in Ainsworth, I think it was Ainsworth. I know he's from Ainsworth. I just don't know if it was a home game. Carter Nelson was put out a video of him practicing his dunks for next year's competition. So he has a bit of an advantage. He's 6'7" tall. So
I think it's wonderful.
I'll let you read this one, Minnie.
Oh, go ahead. And it takes a lot of guts to teabag our head coach in a full PBA. It does, but I don't think that was the intention. I think he really, in his mind, he's soaring over Matt Rule, and just to prove how much he can soar, he had Matt Rule stand under the basket. It just didn't work out.
It's not going to help his
sometimes
playing
it
time
works,
any this
sometimes
fall.
it doesn't.
It is not going to help that young man's playing time any this fall. Let's see. Fred says, not Minnie's bits, though. Hashtag Minnie's bits never forget.
No. But, I was really surprised to see Thomas Fedoni out there.
Yeah, well, that's because he's an injury-prone individual who really shouldn't be doing any more extraneous exercise than he has to for a scholarship.
I mean, he looks like he's never been injured a day in his life with his knee. His knees are holding up perfectly.
The other way to take that is, I was surprised to see Thomas Fedoni out there. Why? Because he's white and white men can't jump?
No.
Are you sure?
No. I'm sure.
By the
way,
that
is another movie that I would not like to see anytime soon.
Which one? The 1992 original, starring Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson, or the remake from last year that's guaranteed to not be good?
How could they remake that?
Why do they remake anything? Because it's Hollywood and they're out of original ideas.
All right.
Fred says, some days you're the teabagger, some days you're the teabaggee. Or for this old country music song, sometimes you're the windshield and sometimes you're the bug. Sorry, Fred. Such a disappointment.
Okay.
Right.
Well, now that we have that out of the way,
let's get there.
Also, on Sunday at noon, there was this excitement building for 24 hours because Huskers.com told us that we could expect episode 1 for Nebraska Huskers football. And you know how they started that last year? Mm-hmm. And Rule stood up there and he's like, yeah, I'm not so sure I'm going to let them do that again. And I was like, so brokenhearted because those are my favorite all-time shows. Like, I could just watch them 50 times a day. Just listen to him, especially when he's giving his pep talks. But they had one called Chasing 3. That's it. That was the title, Chasing 3, which you know why they named it that.
Why?
Because we lost 5 games by 3 last season.
Oh, I thought it was because they were following around 3 players and their journeys and their stories.
No, but I could see how you might think that. They're actually.
Yeah. Maybe I'm right and you're wrong.
Oh. You could be, because that was almost what
How's it feel?
Did.
Yeah. A guy's right for a change. Yeah.
Huh. But I don't think so. I think you're off by 1.
Oh, well, shit.
Okay, so they talked about Nash Hutmacher and his, the thing about him going and talking to Coach Knighton and saying, what do you think? Yes, that's what I say, Aaron.
Well, say it out loud for the people who are
3 points from a damn bowl game last year. And I think that just sticks in everyone's craw.
It's in my craw so much that I forgot. So
no, you didn't.
Well, I mean, like it's in the past, and I got a bad memory, so it's moved out for other important things.
Okay.
All right, sorry.
Well, okay, Nash Hutmacher.
How many Yinglings have you had, Minnie?
None.
Yeah.
Playing wrestling.
Nash.
And just the excitement that all the coaches had for him. Like everybody was like, absolutely, go for it. Absolutely. So then they talked to Tony White and he's like, oh my gosh, what does this mean? You know, Nash wants to talk to me. Is he leaving? You know, is he not going to play? And he's like, absolutely. I think that's wonderful. Go play. But where's 50? Conspiracy. Is it a conspiracy?
Might be 5 points or 5 games, 3 points. 3 times 5 equals 15. Who wears number 15? That's from MK, and I think we all know. Josh says Tommy Frazier wore number 15.
Yeah, no. That's not who we're talking about, Josh.
There's only one in the 21st century, Josh, that matters. You know, somebody won national championships and someone's coming in with some hype and a big fan.
And it's so hard for me not to, you know, not to talk about him. But since you guys insist, everyone.
You wait for this portion of the show every day or every week when we nudge you just enough. You're like, the dam's bursting. Here's all the deep knowledge you need for the week, and go.
Okay, so here's the thing. I wonder what it must feel like to be an 18-year-old kid with this much pressure. I feel like the media is putting so much more pressure on him than there needs to be because I know it's the off season. But this is what everyone is talking about. Everyone on 3, ESPN, like everybody is talking about. Is he going to start? Is he going to start? And honestly, this poor kid, of course he's going to start, but we don't need, like, let's just let him lay low because he's trying to lay low right now.
Are we putting pressure on him, or are you putting pressure on him?
No, I'm not. I think it's the other media outlets that are doing this. We're just in full support. Whatever he wants to do.
Right. Like when he wanted to go to Georgia, and you were in full support.
No, I wasn't.
Well, here's what Chasing 3 gave us. It gave us glimpses into, and we're going to get, I know this is out of order, and I apologize. Lord knows. First of all, it gave us a look into Nash Hutmacher and his return to wrestling for the first time in 4 years. And brilliant comment here by Fred saying going for 3, which was inaccurate. Chasing, regardless, was pretty good. Hutmacher's dad needs to leave a little bicep and tricep days for the rest of us. He's definitely hitting all the arms days that I'm not going to in the gym. That guy's nuts. But it also told us a little bit about Ty Robinson, which we'll get to. I'm mentioning it's called a tease because it's in the notes. I don't want to. I want to make sure we get all. But apparently, on the diet and nutrition side of things, they don't just say, hey, you need to have 18 raw eggs in the morning and whatever 43 grams of protein powder. They actually are teaching these kids how to cook healthy. And for freshmen, it's a lot of freshmen. Yeah. New kids on campus. It's a lot of, in-person training sessions. For some of the older cats, it's done virtually, but it gave us this. And as soon as I saw this scene, I said, I know I've got to save this. This is, I just wish you all could see Minnie's reaction.
I saw that. He was learning how to cook chicken parmigiana.
Parmigiana. It's not how I'd pronounce it, but
chicken. Well, how do you pronounce it in Illinois?
I always thought it was just chicken parmesan.
That's what you would say. But he's Italian also, right? Raiola?
I thought he was. I'm going to say this as politely as I can. South Pacific-ish.
Yeah, he is also. But I think that he must have some Italian in him as well. Because I think that's what the last name is. Full mini swoon. Laugh out loud. For
Thanks,
sure,
Josh.
Josh.
And Josh says Josh's request is for him to cook you a nice meal. Hey, married with 3 daughters, sir. All right, just slow down. This is strictly professional from a fan standpoint, okay? He's also 18 years old, so let's.
He'll be 19 in May.
I see, you know that, and everything that I say just goes out the window. Yeah, you're not supposed to know that.
Okay.
I don't know anybody's birthday. Like, I know my wife's, I know my kids and my family, but I don't know John's birthday.
Speaking of birthdays, Fred Sacco is going to have a birthday either tomorrow or this weekend because he's not going to be at our party.
That's right. Yeah, we learned that last week. We're traumatized with this realization that due to Fred's birthday, he's going to miss our watch-along party. And we just wish that he has a great time with his friends or with his family. And he's safe, makes good decisions. That's actually something one of my twins said to me when I was leaving the house to go to work this evening, which is a weird thing to say. Like, I had meetings and appointments, and he says, "Bye, Daddy, make good decisions." I was like, what?
Aw, so sweet.
So
I bet he heard that from your wife.
Because we tell it to our oldest all the time, like, make good decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be like your father. Don't be a screw up. So, yeah. See, I was right. He's Dylan Raiola is Polynesian.
Well, I know, but just because he's Polynesian doesn't mean he can't be also Italian.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it means.
No, it isn't.
You're not allowed to.
I'm just saying.
You're not. No. See, okay. We have 3 for Pacific Island-esque and 0 for Italiano. I'm just saying.
I just don't think Raiola is a Polynesian name.
I mean, okay, but I guess you're wrong because they're
Polynesian. Because everybody else thinks so. Watch. It's
right.
going to come out that there was an Italian grandfather years ago. See?
Who are we going to get to verify this? Like, do you want me to get Dom on the phone?
We need Dylan. Get his DNA.
Aaron says if he's at Olive Garden, he's family. Did you say you need Dylan's DNA? We got to stop the show. Crying out loud. This show's gone too far. What are we saying now? All right, update here. Fred says due to the fact he's been sick, he had to cancel plans. So Fred will be here with us tomorrow night.
I'm sorry you're sick, but I'm glad you'll be with us.
Josh, there's quite a bromance going on. I don't know if you picked up on this between Fred and Josh. Josh says that's the best silver lining I've heard all week, Fred. So we wish you a speedy recovery, and we're going to be happy to spend another evening with you. I don't know why y'all do this to yourselves. Like,
thank you. Can you click on Josh's last comment, please?
I can't see it. Are you able to click on it? Hold on.
No. I thought you got glasses so you can read.
I can't know how to read. All right, for Josh, Josh did the research, says Raiola on a quick Google is indeed an Italian name.
It's Italian. See?
Did you? What are you doing? All right. So what you're saying is that Dylan was probably teaching everybody else how to make the chicken parmesan.
Exactly.
What, this show has gone so far off the rails. All right. Let's talk about our man, Mr. Ty Robinson.
So in the Chasing 3, What did you want to say something?
No, it was a very
Sorry.
long pause that I thought you were going to say something much sooner than that.
I like letting people linger there for a second. Okay. So in the chasing
Never
three,
mind.
Ty Robinson, they pointed out, all this hype because he wanted to talk. Remember, he had to make up his mind back in the season, and before he said anything to anyone, he wanted to talk to Coach Roll. And he obviously could have declared for the NFL. In fact, Tony White said, he could be making $10 million in the NFL easily, but he wants to come back and play for Nebraska. And I'm so glad they brought that up.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't necessarily like a revelation. I like that they did a deep dive into it because I think he announced that. What was it, before or after the Iowa game? Like, oh, you're gonna have a decision to make, and he basically said there's not going to be a discussion. There's not going to be, will he or won't he? He's like, I'm coming. I'm going to come back. But I think for me, the biggest takeaway of the Ty Robinson portion of the Chasing 3 episode 1, or however, is the fact that dude's a leader. Like I feel like he's got that heart. I'm not saying 5 heart. Like, I'm not trying to,
Does he have the 5 heart?
He does, but he does. He's got that. I wasn't trying to usurp, his time. I didn't want to overshadow him with what we do here.
Oh, well, no, but I like that that's the name of your show, that you're the panelist. And
you had to.
You can totally say, okay, that dude has 5 hearts.
Time out. Ty Robinson, great. Yeah, 5 heart. But you say the name of your show, so you acknowledge, and then you just call me a panelist?
Well, okay, so here's the deal. I didn't, how I had you for tomorrow night, we're watching the Young Guns game or movie.
Uh-huh.
But I sent to you this kind of questionnaire to find out which one you are as far as.
I was going to save that for tomorrow, but yes.
Well, I'm going to have to retake it because I feel guilty because I'm Billy the Kid.
Okay.
So I'm running the show. Just one more thing. Sorry.
Well, it's been fun, everybody. I guess tonight's going to be my last night.
I'm going to retake it. So somebody else can be Billy.
Well, make sure you screenshot and get that to me. We can throw it in the show tomorrow and we'll have some fun with it. Anyway, I'm just a peon. I am just a sidekick. Yeah, so Ty Robinson coming back. He talked, as Josh says, talked with Coach Knighton, and the loss to Wisconsin in overtime. I think what is most. I feel like Ty Robinson believes in this team and the direction in Matt Rule, and feels like there's some significant unfinished business to be done. And Vince with a great one. Yeah, he wants to be a doctor after football. So I think he's got 1 or 2 degrees now. I mean, he might have his graduate degree. I don't know, but just well done to him. I'm so excited that he's coming back.
He's just about done with his degree, if I'm not mistaken, in that Chasing 3. That's what they said. So maybe he's already done. And he's going to be a pediatrician.
That's kudos to him. I mean,
I know.
Also, how'd you like to be? Sometimes kids are scared of the doctors, right? And then you go into the doctor's office, and your doctor is like 6'7" and offense or defensive lineman build, you're like, the kind of reaction that would make one of my twins fill his diaper. Like, oh shit. So, yeah. So very excited for him coming back. And honestly, I love that interior duo of him and the polar bear. That's going to be really, especially if Nash keeps some of the weight off. I'm not saying he has to be at 285. I don't know if that's necessarily functional for an interior defensive lineman, but he's a little quicker. I mean, they addressed this in the Chasing 3, right? He's quicker. He dropped 40 pounds in a month. I can't fathom that. No, I can't.
He was eating 6 meals a day.
Yeah, and they just have to do everything else. Just cut 3 meals.
6 meals. I wonder what were in those meals.
Yeah.
So, lastly, having to do with football, Tony White just gave an interview today to Husker Online, and it was so funny because he said, "Oh, don't talk to me about meetings. I just got out of one." He goes, "I'm just so mad. I'm so pissed off about last season." And they're like, "What's going on?" And he goes, he's angry about the 3rd down last year. Even though they were the 11th defense in the country, that's not good enough. And he said that they are starting at the bottom. What they did last year doesn't matter. What matters is what's going on right now. And that's how he's keeping the guys hungry for more, is the mat drills and the competitions. And he was asked about Jeremiah Charles. And he goes, "Yeah, that dude is an elite athlete." And he goes, "It just goes to show you what can happen if you have development and evaluation of talent." Because last year, remember, they spent most of the year trying to figure out, is he offense, is he defense,
right?
What's he going to be doing? And he's going to be a major contributor this year, which I'm so excited about. And that's about all I have on that.
I like that Josh's comment here. Pissed Tony White is going to be good for business. Although I do have a feeling that a pissed off Tony White that's good for business is also going to make it expensive to keep Tony White. But
he did talk about that some as well, because he's like, he said it in the press conference during the season. He goes, "I've never been in a situation like this where a head coach is backing me, trying to mold me into being a successful head coach further down the road."
Mm-hmm.
He goes, "And I can't even think about that right now. All I want to think about is how can I get this defense to where they need to be." And he goes, "And it's not me. It's the players. It's the coaches." And he named every single coach by name. One thing they didn't ask him, which I really wanted to know, is how did he come about becoming the head coach, or the defensive coach at Nebraska? Because he didn't have a history with that role.
Just sometimes you get lucky.
Yeah. I mean, it was a perfect fit when you think about it.
Fred says Greg was in the same position as Tony White. All the podcasts wanted him till he got demoted on his own show. I just want to say, y'all have fun doing that Young Guns thing tomorrow without me. So
we couldn't possibly.
Speaking of guns, where's Highlander gun tonight?
He's probably just saving it for tomorrow night.
All right, he better.
I'm guessing.
You better. speaking of people we are glad is here, Brando Sports World. Man, I'm late. I never see my notification. We're going to have to start over, guys.
Okay.
We're not going to start over.
Tomorrow night, though, make sure you're. What if we have to decide the time? Is it 9:00?
I don't see why it would be 7:30. I think we need to maintain consistency.
Okay, 9:00 tomorrow night. Be here or be square.
That's not Minnie's basement, just so you know. It's just here with us on the stream for the viewing of the Young Guns. Right?
Right.
And it's important to note, Young Guns came about because of a challenge, a dare that we had during the football season last year. And we'll remind everybody, we'll rehash this all again tomorrow. But I was like, yeah, John's like, I don't want to watch it. That movie sucks. I said, oh, we can raise $100. We'll make John watch it. And so I put in $100 super chat right then and there. And then we started raising money for Team Jack to the point that, before the end of the year, for tax purposes or whatnot, John just donated $1,000 to the Team Jack Foundation, which is more than double what we raised. But out of the Corn Nation coffers, I suppose. And so now we're legally obligated through our duty to you, the Chatterfields, to watch the Young Guns with John and make sure the old buzzard stays awake long enough to get through it. So
it's going to be so fun. I can't wait.
It wouldn't happen without you all, and we're so excited to be here. So
yes, make sure you join our watch party tomorrow night.
That is right, and hopefully we don't get kicked off YouTube because not entirely sure of the legality of just showing somebody else's movie. But I'll say this: I might actually purchase it on YouTube. I don't know. That might become like a weird Inception thing. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I think we got a pretty good plan in place. Josh wants to know $1,000. That's fantastic. Can we donate during the show tomorrow too? Yes. And I'll put my Venmo up on the screen so you know right where to donate to, because I got bills to pay too. So
just donate in Yingling.
Oh, that's right. I'll have to put more in the fridge now after tonight. Melissa says, Minnie, is he going to wear his robe? Is John going to wear his robe?
I'm pretty sure. Well, we did tell him to wear something Western.
That's right. And Vince says, John in nothing but a robe and chaps. Or apparently, as some people say, chaps, which is wrong, but whatever. Daddy needs a new case of Yingling. Let me tell you. Yeah, just for fun. How about that? Nobody's going to take that case of Yingling out of Big E's hands. I'll tell you that much. All right. Minnie, have we gone through the list? Have we accomplished all that you set out to accomplish tonight?
Great. Yep.
Well, I want to put this up. I mentioned earlier that Rank Mast had a double-double, and I actually had this in mind for last week, but I forgot to post it, share it, whatever. This is one of those crazy statistics you hear about, and I just want to put this out there. This news is over a week old, so it's not brand new. But this high school basketball player named Kiona Christmas had a quintuple double last week. She's at Fonda Fultonville in Fonda, New York. 11 points, 20 rebounds, 11 assists, 10 steals, and 10 blocks. I've never heard of a quintuple double before. So when I came across that, I was like, well, let's give her flowers. And, just put that out there in the world to recognize what is a very outstanding achievement.
Very good. Did you play high school sports?
I did. I played 3 years. I played 3 years of baseball, junior or sophomore, junior season years. And I was, I did freshman basketball, and I was on the golf team for freshman year. And then sophomore year, I found out I was no longer on the golf team when it's like with that first pep rally of the year, when the coach is up there and he's It's like recognizing all the golfers, and
Oh no.
my name didn't get announced. And I said, now, full disclosure, our home golf course was on the other side of the county. We didn't have one of our own, so I always had to get rides, and my ride stopped giving me a ride. So I guess my coach decided or thought I didn't want to be on the team anymore, so didn't announce me. I looked at my buddy. I was like, guess I'm not on the golf team anymore. So
I hope he didn't just invest in new golf clubs.
Custom made. That's not a lie. I had custom made golf clubs for my freshman year.
That is horrible.
So
sorry.
It's all good. It is perfectly fine. I played baseball. I joke. I was on the team. I didn't play a ton, especially varsity. But I knew my role, and I just enjoyed being on the team. I consider myself a 10-run player, which meant I played if we were up by 10, or I played if we were down by 10. I was never much of an athlete, but I was a heck of an athletic supporter.
That matters. There's
a joke in there for the guys know what I'm talking about. Maybe not so much the ladies, but no, I did my, just played my role. So, but how about you, Minnie? Did you play sports in high school?
I did. Yep.
Let's see. All of them,
one
right?
Of these days, I'm going to have to dig out some newspaper clippings because, believe it or not, I used to hit home runs.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised by that. I just,
I'm totally surprised still.
So it got to be the end of my senior year, and again, I knew where I was. It was the Saturday after prom, and the game on prom night was canceled, which sucked because we would have got shelled by that team, so I would have had a chance to play. But I had asked my coach, I said, hey, coach, senior year, we're coming down to the end of the season. I said, can I start a game or something like that? He's like, we'll see what we can do, Greg. And it was a team that was not very good, so I actually got to start. I hit a ball like an infield pop fly that went off the first baseman's glove or something like that, and was considered, it was in play, but it went out there, like should have been ruled an error. But in the box score, Greg Mahachko got a hit that day. So I'll take it.
Good going. That's the way to go out right there.
Sophomore year, JV baseball. I hit 9, right? Because I'm slow as shit. Still, I mean, I'm slower now, obviously, because I got a bad knee. I get hit by a pitch with 2 outs, so I'm at first, and I look over to my coach at third base, and he's giving the signs, and he wants me to steal. I get thrown out with like 5 feet in front of the bag, so that he could have the top of the lineup up to bat at the next inning. So that's how they thought of me. But again, I like the comments. This is not a let's rally for Greg. Let's give Greg his moment. But
I think we do need to give you a little bit of. We're just happy that sports didn't work out for you, and that you're here with us.
Yeah, neither did radio. Neither did a lot of things in my life. So James Boardman does the Rudy chant and then changes it to, which is great. Fred calls me the sacrificial lamb. It should be a great shirt at Coronation or copycorn.com. That's it. 5-heart dunk contest, halftime next home game. Greg has to jump over John. That will never happen, and poor John will die again. Yeah, just, great comments. Again, we're so appreciative of all of you who spend not just, look, you've been with us Monday night. With the lesser, like the spin-off show, right? Here
are we the spin-off?
No,
they
are.
That's what I thought.
5-heart was here first. Their Monday Night Therapy has only been around since the beginning of the 2022 season. And it came directly out of that loss. I can't believe we're going there, but let's do it. Let's have this conversation. if it was born directly out of that loss in Ireland and Northwestern, when John and Todd felt like we need to discuss our feelings over this. And so Monday Night Therapy was born. It was actually the first live show that they did here. And
were you there? You were there, and so was Haas.
No.
Right? No.
Where?
On the show.
No.
No. Okay.
I've only popped in periodically to confuse Todd. It's great. I like Melissa says I like Todd.
I do too.
I do too. Nothing in there about liking Greg. That's fine. I see how it is. I'm just a peon panelist. Fred says, we're glad everything fell apart for you, so you're stuck with us. That's a great mini quote there. Thank you. No, I'm, and Josh knows this because I've known Josh for almost 20 years now, but every step in my life, just like every step in everybody else's life, has led us to where we are now. In the big picture, maybe way too sentimental or philosophical way, I wouldn't change anything because I love my life now. I say it 100 times a week. I'm blessed far beyond my deserving. And so the fact that you Chatterfields come out and spend time with us, spend time with Todd and John on Mondays, and then for whatever reason you're giving up a perfectly good Friday night to watch Young Guns with us tomorrow night as well. I'm blown away. Just exceptionally grateful for all of you. You as well, Minnie, because you're a Chatterfield at heart.
I am. I still am. Thank you.
That's right. Fred says, I've known Josh, or you've known Josh 20 years. They had time back then. That's how time works, Fred. Fred also says, Minnie, if you're going to go demoting people, you should know which show was first.
I should. Well, I do know a little trivia on the 5-part podcast.
Okay.
It started with a company called the Jittery Monkey. Isn't that right? Is that what it was called?
That's the podcast network. Yes, that's the podcast network. I started in June of 2013. That is my podcast network.
Wow.
And before the it was always a Coronation podcast, but before there was the Vox Media, Megaphone used to be the platform that we housed the shows on, and now it's Podbean. But before all that, it was jitterymonkey.com, Jittery Monkey Podcast Network. So
I don't know where I saw that, but
I don't know.
I thought that's the reason there's a monkey on the icon for 5-part. Is that
is it? Let's see if I can. Let's see quickly. So I have a whole thing about this. Let's see how quickly I can. Again, because I don't know, how did we end up here? Good Lord.
I love that. Look at, okay, Fred just made a comment. Bonus points. What was Fred's first smartass comment about our former head coach?
Good Lord, which one?
Well, okay, so you would have to. Oh, there it is.
So that's the original Jittery Monkey. And this is my other podcast, Nerds United, because I'm a huge nerd with comic books and all that fun stuff. Let's see, where are the other ones?
And you still included that N, I noticed. There's a N on your logo.
Oh yeah, because it's
pretend like that's Nebraska.
That's fine. That's in fact that's encouraged, Minnie. Let's see. Why are we doing this now? It's people. I feel like at the end of Ferris Bueller, like the show's over.
All roads lead back to Nebraska. Speaking of which, real quick, and then we.
Yes, ma'am.
So, remember, John last week gave me homework. Do you remember this?
Yes, and you're gonna tell me as a refresher everything about that homework right now.
Oh my gosh! He told me go buy this book and read it, and then next week I'll give you another homework assignment. Of course, he's not here, but just so you know, I did do this, and then I started reading it, and it's a great book. I'm glad he recommended it to me, especially not being from Nebraska. There's so much like information, little nuggets that you would never know. For instance, they talked about why the water well, the crank thingy, why it's painted red. Do you know why?
No.
I know, it's crazy. So the Gilmans are two brothers. Their wagon gave out just near the bank of the Platte River. So that's where they had to stop. They were actually headed to like the gold rush. And so they decided to dig a well there and put in their little handheld well crank thingy. And they painted it red. And it was for all the people that were kind of going. I know, isn't that neat? And so that's why Nebraska is scarlet. That's one of our colors. I know. Like, isn't that interesting? So, good read.
And how about this? When we're talking about history, that tomorrow, March 1st, is Nebraska Statehood Day. 157 years old. And we get together again as a family tomorrow night and watch a movie. So, it's going to be a good time.
Can't wait.
Let's see. Fred says that you're upset that there's not one mention of Dylan in that book.
Not that I've read yet. There might be. I'm sure all roads lead to Dylan. We'll find one.
And at 9:13, Don Dre, who popped in, I don't know if Don's still around because it's been over an hour, but I figured this is the perfect question to end on. And whether we all answer it now or whether we bring our best answers back tomorrow night, Don Dre says, why Nebraska?
Or do you think he meant why Nebraska? Like, why did we lose tonight?
I didn't. That's the only comment Don left all night long. So, Don, if you're still with us, first of all, God bless you, sir. But in what context? I say, why not Nebraska? Yeah, I'm right there with you, Josh. Why not us, in all caps? So, Fred says, I've said why Nebraska after almost every game the last 10 years. And Melissa says, because they're the best. All right answers. You bring your own answer tomorrow when we get together 9 o'clock Central for a little watch along of the Young Guns with our founder, our fearless leader, Mr. John Jam Johnston, who couldn't be with us tonight because we exhaust him and we would much rather him endure the Young Guns than just another Thursday night. I don't know. That made us sound minimalist, and I didn't mean it, but we had a great time tonight. Minnie, I hope you did. Mm-hmm. I know I did. And looking forward to putting the band back together tomorrow with the Young Guns. Remember, I don't know where I was going with that. I was supposed to be a Young Guns quip, but that fell apart very quickly. So Young Guns tomorrow night, 9 o'clock. We're not going to have a post on coordination.com about that. We're going to try to keep this on the DL as much as possible. But that'll do it for this episode of the 5 Heart Podcast. For my co-host over here, Minnie, thank you for joining us from sunny and warm Arizona. I am your host, Greg Mahachko. This is the 5 Heart Podcast. We remind you each and every week that 5 Heart is all the heart you need. Minnie?
Wait, wrong way. This way. For my panelist, Greg. I'm just kidding. All right. I'm done. Go Big Red. Greg, you're so bad.
Kicking me off my damn show. I see how it is. Yeah, like Josh says, hit like.
Thank you.
Hit it again, and we'll see y'all tomorrow.